Hello, welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. I'm your host, Duey, and joining me today is the delightful, the mysterious, and she's going to tell you to shush in the library. We have, here, Roadypie.
Shh.
It's like a vampiric librarian is kind of the thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to discussing the games today.
And joining us it's been a while, but welcome back. AffinityChris is joining us.
Hey.
Hi, everybody. All these new games. Yeah, welcome back.
Yay.
Thanks. It's been a spell. It's been another week. Another week of all this weirdness, but there's been a lot of cool stuff. A lot of not so great stuff. So we got some stuff to talk about. But we also have, of course, as the show is about, it's about Steam releases. We have a ton of releases to talk about today. We're almost done with catching up with all the games we missed over the hiatus, and so we'll have that first. But we'll have that before the list. But before that, what did we play this week? And Roadypie, what have you played this last week?
I finished Nobodies. Got that done finally. There was some like really obtuse puzzles right at the end, like the last two missions, and it was just like, oh, and also getting back into it as well. Mm-hmm. It was like, right, where am I at? Because I was in the middle of a mission. So I was like, okay, what do I need to do at this point again? It was like a hospital mission, and I had to remember where it was, and then it was fine. And then there was one on the train, and it was just the last couple of the puzzles were just like, I don't know what you want me to do here. So yeah, it was just really annoying. And kind of like the sort of wrapping up of the story was really kind of, it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Let me just put it that way. It has still been quite an enjoyable game, definitely. I kind of wish they had sort of more references to the story during those kind of puzzle scenes, to sort of remind you why you're doing this and what's it all for, sort of thing. That would have been nice. I also, so after that, started Whispers of a Machine.
Oh, which I saw you doing this one, yes.
Yeah, it's point and click venture set in the future. It seems there were AIs that could think for themselves, and they kind of destroyed the world, sort of thing. So this is happening sort of after mankind has sort of picked itself up from that. And you are a sort of a special agents police officer. You are investigating two murders in a small town, and it's sort of like set in more kind of Nordic kind of country, and you have augments. You're a special officer because you have these augments. So you have increased strength. You can look for sort of bio readings, sort of like fingerprints and everything like that, footprints, and you can also check if people are lying. So when you're talking to them, you can have sort of like a heart monitor going on. So these are all mechanics that you have to sort of activate when you're doing your investigations, sort of thing. So you have to sort of like almost like trial and error on where you've got to go to investigate the investigation. So it's like, all right, I've tried this, I've tried that. So there's a lot of that going on. And I'm on like day 2, and I've got another augment. So because of the choices I've made in the dialogue determines what sort of augmentation you're going to get depending on your personality. So you could have 3 personalities. You could be analytical, you could be aggressive, and you could be more empathetic, really. And so because I was more analytical with my answers that I gave, I got sort of improved eyesight. But it's one of those things that you have to activate so you can zoom in really close as well. And there are some really, it was going quite at a good pace, but there were a couple of puzzles that were really annoying, and I'm sort of stuck at the point where I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go from there. The story's really interesting. From these murders you see, and there's this sort of, they're linked, and it's sort of, there's a bigger thing at play, and things have gotten serious, and you're continuing the investigation. So I played that. Otherwise, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It looks beautiful, as we commented when we first saw this on the show. It looks really cool. And it is awesome to hear that it's got this very interesting story. And I saw you at that horrid incubator.
that was a thing. And that was another thing that was kind of annoying, because I was supposed to stabilize what was in the incubator. And it was a lot of I was doing the right thing, but I had to activate one of the augments while I was doing it, even though it made no sense. Kind of made no sense whether I had it on or not, because you had a computer with a readout on it. So it's like, well, but the computer is just telling me whether I'm doing it at the correct level. So why can't I just do what, It's just it was just a silly thing, and it made no sense to complete the puzzle sort of thing. So yeah, it was just annoying. It was just annoying. But yeah, great story, really good looking. There are some annoying fiddly things because of these mechanics to complete the puzzles. And finally, I played Assembled with Care. Played and finished.
Oh.
Played that today. That's one we spoke about last week. And it's just really beautiful, really gorgeous. People are coming to you with broken items that that has some significance to themselves, that are personal, and they want you to fix them, and stories. You get the stories and the feelings about these items when you've finished fixing them. So best way to describe this game is it's kind of like a storybook with and you'll be like interrupted in the story with something you have to fix, sort of thing. So you spend I think it's 13 days in this town of Bellariva, and you're like a repair person, and you just go from town to town, country to country, and you're fixing various things. So yeah, you're going cross country, cross continents. It's really interesting story. It's so relaxing, and the artwork is so beautiful. And I mean, you only get to interact with like 4 people, but you get to hear their whole story through these like 13 days, and like they have broken relationships, and through fixing their items, are you also like mending their relationships a little bit. So it's really nice where they've done it.
That is a really cool double entendre as well with the Assemble with Care. Like there's all this it's not just assembling items, but it's also kind of putting together things emotionally.
Yeah.
That's really neat. That is really beautiful.
Oh, welcome to the show, Buffoon Batman. I see you went to watch the Queen's speech.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so it's I remember when we saw this game earlier, it was just like last week we're like, this looks really special. Ultimately, do you feel like you did you get it as a gift or buy it?
No, I bought it. I bought
Mm-hmm.
it. I really wanted something short enough and
Mm-hmm.
just something that I wasn't going to stream, because I did think about maybe streaming this, but I just wanted something that I could get into myself and just relax to. I wish it went on longer. Is
Mm-hmm.
my is my only me who likes quite short games. I mean, this is 102 minutes that I completed it in, and it's but yeah, I wouldn't have minded it going on for longer. It wouldn't surprise me if they did a
Yeah.
DLC of this. It was just really relaxing and nice, and I did feel satisfied even though I did want more.
Yeah.
It was great.
So it was like a short interactive movie,
Yeah.
but relaxing. Well, maybe
Mm.
not. Movie is probably the wrong thing. It's almost like a handicraft, really, since
Yeah, no, completely.
that is cool. All right, is that all?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
all my games for this week.
few
Yeah.
more games off of the list.
Mm.
Yeah. Let me see. And what about you, AffinityChris? What have you been up to?
I mean, so much like everyone else, I've of course delved deeply into Animal Crossing.
Yes.
And that's just like my happy place kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like everyone already has talked a million times about Animal Crossing, so I won't delve too deep into that. But I also finally started playing a playthrough of Phantasy Star 4. Been going through the whole
Ooh.
series so far, just on my free time. And I don't know why I decided Phantasy Star of all things. I think I played the first one and was like, this is really different. I love this. And played through 1 all the way through now to 4. And 4 finally did the thing where it was like, oh, the game got good.
That's some patience, my man.
It was
Yeah.
like, it's so weird because those games were like, oh, they're really interesting, they're really fun, but gosh dang it, there are some things that just drive you absolutely
Mhm.
crazy. Like Phantasy Star 3, I had this whole notebook here that I like. Oh shoot, this is a different notebook. But I had a whole notebook full of just half the thing was just notes on the game because I was like, they do nothing to help you. They tell you
Mhm.
one quest point and they never tell you again. So when you set down the game and you come back to it, you're like, what was I doing? Where do I gotta go?
Oh,
Ah.
yeah.
But 4 finally, like, figured out those quality of life things, and it's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
okay, here's a reminder of what your current quest is," or, "Here's a map, so you know what the world looks like." Here's, like, I don't know, like, UI to show you these weapon stats, so you're not upset whenever you buy a weapon and you don't know what you just did. So it's nice. It feels like a fully
Mm.
featured RPG
Mhm.
for the first time, where the rest were, like, kinda just dipping their toes in the water trying to figure out that landscape.
I mean, the Fantasy Star series, it was a really early RPG, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was Sega's, like, first RPG,
Mm.
and the first one came out on I always get this wrong, it's either the Mega Drive or the Master System, the precursor to the Sega Genesis. So it came out on that system, and that was before RPGs were really prevalent, and at that point, most of them were on the NES also. So Sega was like, "Well, we want some of these on our console, so we'll make one." And it was good, like, it was really interesting, and it was really different as far as most RPGs go, because they went the dungeon crawler route, whereas all the others were, like, fantasy narrative
Mhm.
route, and they were just like, "Alright, well, we like weird sci-fi."
Yeah, weird sci-fi. Yeah, Fantasy Star Online, I believe is also like kind of that's the current iteration franchise at the moment.
Mhm.
I don't think they've done any like Fantasy Star 5 or gone beyond that yet. But
They did some other console releases, but they didn't number them anymore. There was, like,
mm,
Phantasy Star Universe,
mm.
and I have no idea where that fits in the chronology. But they had, like, that they also did an online component with that one too. So, ever since they moved to, like, modern consoles, they've always seemed to geared more toward the online stuff.
Kind of interesting that it has seems to have the exact same UI as the Shining Force series, but I guess like it was still Sega. So I guess they just kind of did the like, this is what people expect, and so the things were kind of unified.
Yeah,
just like how things looked.
I totally agree. I think that was them also trying to be like, yeah, this is gonna be the default. Like we're setting the standard. Whereas Nintendo was like, and Capcom was like, nah, we're gonna do things a better way.
Yeah. Shining Force is a good series to check out though, too. Oh my gosh, it's a good series. Probably my first JRPG was The Shining. Yeah, that's cool.
If you ever say something and I don't respond, it might be because Discord keeps freezing up on me and I don't know what's going on.
Oh no, that's not good.
It comes back, but I'm just like, there's like a solid 5 seconds where just nothing happens, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Everyone and their cousins on the internet right now.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I've been getting messages from multiple different gaming companies, for online games, and they're just like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna have some bandwidth management because our server is getting slammed." Like even some older games that are like, I don't think that many people were playing. They had a regular player base, but now it's like everyone's home all the time.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, we're slammed. So please, between these and these hours, we can't transfer properties, or we can't or the auction house will be closed. And it's just due to bandwidth having to send all that information around.
Yeah.
And so, because they don't want to affect things like put on a player caps and such. But yeah. Weird time to be alive. Anyway, are there any other games you checked out?
I mean, like, I'm looking at Resident Evil 3. I'm just waiting for any excuse to buy it and play it because I loved 2. It was too short, and it sounds like that was the same problem with 3, but I'm just like, I know I'm still gonna be happy. This is gonna be a great game.
That sounds like another series to check out. And for those in the chat who may not know, AffinityChris does series streams, so he just plays all the games of a series. So Resident Evil might be a good series to do with all the remakes coming out.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, so this week I had mixed experiences. So I've got some games I've checked out from the show. First of all, we have 36 Apples. So this game I checked out, it's free, it's about 30 minutes long, so I can't really complain too much, but I still gave it a negative review for a particular reason that there's just a certain point where I could not beat the game. There were no more apples. I think that they glitched out, or somehow I got in a state where I was stuck. And I was like, I'm not gonna restart and play 30 minutes again. But there's cool little things, like there's hidden objects to find. There's little odd things like the reeds that are along the pond. If you touch the reeds, they make a musical note, and each of them have different musical notes. So there's little things like that. There's a lot of little tiny Easter eggs all over this game, and kudos for that. Yes, kudos for that. But it's also just a very avant-garde experience where it's like, okay, I mean, I see they did something interesting here. There's certain aspects where it's a little dreamy because you go into the truck and you arrive at a different tree, and the state of the trees change. Like at one point, you gather the apples one day, you come back, and the tree now has lost a huge limb and it's fallen into the lake. Then another time, you come back and one of the trees is just totally burned to a crisp. I'm totally spoiling this 30-minute game. I'm sorry. But so there's all these sort of interesting little touches, but I wouldn't say that I felt like my 30 minutes were well used. It's just does this all mean something? I don't know. That said, I feel like the developer, especially giving it away for free, it was like, hey, I made something, check it out, kind of thing. And you know what? You succeeded at making something. Good job. I didn't really like it. But good job. There's definitely talent behind this. I look forward to see what Aberrator makes next. Maybe that will be something they'll charge for. Maybe it'll be a bit longer. Maybe there'll be a bit more guidance. But again, it's free. I can't complain that much. It's an interesting thing. Maybe a good like sort of chaser, like for a streamer. Like, okay, I've played this game. Maybe just do a short little thing, and it's an experience. So.
It sounds like it's an experience.
It's an experience. Yes, it is an experience. 36 apples. And there are, in fact, 36 apples. So, let me see. Oh, I do kind of like how it doesn't really guide you. Anyhow, enough of that. The other game I played, which is absolutely bad, is Half Dead.
Played a couple of bad games this week.
So this game, the reason I play this game is now with all of this like social distancing, I've kind of been reaching out to a bunch of people, and so now I like play my cousins on one day. I play a game with my friend from Seattle another day, and so he and his brother and another friend of his all got on, and we played this game together. And of course, his brother has like 800 Steam games. Most of them he hasn't played because he's a sucker for a good deal.
So I feel very attacked right now.
So he's a sucker for a good deal, so we got this really cheap, and it's $1.99. And it's basically Saw, where it's like the rooms have booby traps, and you have 2 shoes. And basically the trick is you can kick your shoe into the room, and if a booby trap goes off, don't go in there. But you only have 2 shoes, so you can only do that twice. And then after that, you gotta like go in, and who knows, maybe you're gonna die. So they have all these like hazards and dangers, and like your characters can't walk properly. There's not really good animation. There's like the obsessive crazy glow and stuff, and it's sort of like the whole point is you have to get to the end, and that's it. It works, it functions. It's not really appealing. I didn't like it, but I have to say for $2 I don't necessarily feel robbed because I did play a few hours with friends, so it's not that bad of a scenario.
It's how many rooms are there?
That's adjustable, but the default is 7x7 rooms.
Right.
And about half of them are booby trapped. So, yeah, and some of them, and about a quarter of them are booby trapped in a way that there is no getting out. So you're just messed up. And that's another thing that is annoying. When you get into a booby trapped room, there's no way you can use skill to somehow get out of it or like react quickly. It's like, no, there is no escape. Nothing you can do. And then other ones, there are ways you can escape. But it's not very clear necessarily. Movement is floaty. It's bad. I don't like it. But you know what? There is also a Half Dead 2, which I'm not gonna buy. There is a Half Dead 2. It's at least aesthetically it looks better. Yeah, I don't understand why this has so many positive reviews. Like 70% positive. It baffles me. Because
this would drive me crazy too, this kind of game. It's like, okay, I've got 2 shoes and so many rooms. It just seems like it's near impossible to beat if like half the rooms have got traps in.
Yeah.
So I would hate this.
So outside of being able to throw the shoes in, it's ultimately luck about who wins or who gets the most points. Besides like a handful of strategy things, a lot of it's just like, oh hey, you know what? I'm gonna choose you. You're gonna be the one that's gonna see if the room's dangerous, and that's. I guess it's a party game. If you want to have a party, that's not really fun.
Yeah.
You can pick up the shoes of people who died, so if they like go in a room and dies, and it's a type of room where the trap deactivates after it kills someone, then you can go in and pick up their shoes and have more chances. So there's that element too. Again, it's just, if I'm going to pick a party game, it's going to be any other party game.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I did play a bit of Titan Quest. Once again, I have this problem with RPGs where if I come back to it, I have to start it over because I was like making a build and now I come back to the build and it's like, what on earth was I doing? And I just have to start over. But Titan Quest, great game. I don't mind starting it over again. I really don't. I enjoy the early part, but I do eventually want to finish the story because the story is really interesting. I just don't know if I ever will because I keep having to restart. So, but yeah. So those are the games I played.
Nice.
Nice.
So it's good to get a few negative ones in as well, because though we try to keep things positive, it's not every game is going to be a gem.
No, and we want to, especially for games that we talk about on the show, I want to make sure you guys know that, like, this is what we thought. Although we didn't talk about half done the show, and if it had been the releases, I wouldn't have included. I'm so bad. Okay. We had a fun time, though. Oh, I also played Mount Your Friends, which is a classic. That game's classic.
Oh, okay.
I also learned that game has a Safe for Work edition, which is not really safe for work, but you're basically in a suit and then you have a giant zipper instead of a banana boat. It's really funny. But that's actually a legit good game. Like how weird it is. Yeah. Alrighty. With that, it's time for us to get to our catch-up releases, get to the heart of the show, and we've already been at this for like 30 minutes, so let's hustle. All right, so our first title of a catch-up series that runs between February 7th and February 12th, we have MindSeize.
MindSeize is a 2D Metroidvania game set in a sci-fi universe. You must explore and tame planets, fight powerful enemies, and defeat a mysterious organization that stole the mind of your daughter.
I feel like this one... I've been seeing trailers for this one's around, and I at first thought this was a Devolver Digital game. It's not, but I just remember seeing this featured. Like, a lot of YouTubers have featured this game, and I just say I like the aesthetic. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's got really slick pixel art animation. At first, like, at a quick glance, I was like, "Oh, this looks nice," but you know, maybe it could be better. Then you see the animation, and you're like, "Oh, actually, this is pretty good."
Yeah, it's one of those games that from a distance doesn't necessarily look super appealing, but then the longer you look at it, the more you appreciate the art. Which I think I would rather have that than have initial thing of like, ooh, that looks nice, and the more you look at it, it's like, that's not really appealing. Because there's this game does the opposite, where it just kind of looks very blasé, but then the more you look at it, you start to see how impressive it is.
Yeah, I don't really like, you know, when the characters are talking and there's the portrait there. I don't. The artwork there is not so great, I don't think. That's the thing, that the animation is very good and everything, but there's still something slightly crunchy about the artwork.
Yeah, I think it would have been better had they stuck with pixel art for the portraits.
I totally agree.
Feel more cohesive.
Yeah,
because then you just have two totally different clashing styles, and it's like, well, why not just make that bigger one pixel?
Yeah.
And they honestly could have just pixelated to a degree the images, and it would have. I feel like that even just doing a simple filter like that would have kind of made it fit better.
Maybe. As a pixel artist, I will disagree, but you can get away with that.
You kind of have to handcraft them in order to make it look correct.
You can start by putting a filter on it, but you still probably should clean it up.
Yeah, you need to make sure the lines all match and all of that. And you have to limit the color count, I think, as well, because you can't have just all these infinite shades if it's going to fit into how it looks in the game.
I mean, it depends on what kind of limitations you're setting in your pixel style, but yeah, if you're going for like an old console stylization, then yeah, you have to limit your your color depth.
Yeah.
So you play as a private investigator, MC Fox, who is chasing a dangerous criminal organization, the Ascended, across the universe. The first confrontation between MC and the leader of the Ascended severely injured MC and left him crippled. They also managed to seize the mind of his daughter, Taran, I think. This left only one choice for our protagonist: hire a crew, connect his consciousness into a robotic body called Mag, and continue the chase. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on there.
This game is by Common Dimension, which is a small studio from Kuopio, Finland. And it's $15.99 US.
20% off right now. It's £12.39.
It looks like it's about 20 hours. Well, 10, 20, and then I've got 198 hours. So I don't know. I have no idea how long this game is anymore. So, but with it being a Metroidvania, it depends on like how much, like if they have sort of like any additional secrets you can find, or yeah, it really depends on where they go with that.
Yeah, and right now it's at 75% positive with 40 reviews. So yeah.
Oh, this is going on my wish list. I'm intrigued. Alrighty, and our next title, Boris and the Dark Survival.
A lone wolf struggles to survive the inky abyss of Joey Drew Studios in this top-down survival horror. So you play as Boris the Wolf, the cartoon companion of Bendy. So this is in the same universe as Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So as you hunt through the abandoned cartoon studio for the supplies Boris needs to keep going, you are not alone. The monstrous ink demon stalks you at every turn. Beware the sound of this beating of his beating heart as he creeps up from behind and catches you in his dripping gaze. Nowhere is safe. Yet secrets lie in wait for those adventurous enough to seek them out.
Oh, I would be too scared to play this game.
It's a totally different looking style game though. So this one's got sort of like a 3/4 turn camera, whereas Bendy and the Ink Machine was first person, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to see them sort of take a similar experience and totally modify the game mechanics to create a different experience, but try to like tap into that same kind of horror.
Yeah, you'd think like having the more sort of cute aesthetic would make it less creepy, but to me it's like still, man, I'm just really bad at stealth games, but aesthetically I think it's a really awesome choice to do this 3D but have the very obvious 2D textures with like that look like ink hand drawn. I love interesting stuff like that where they're kind of mashing two disparate styles together. And it actually works here. So also I appreciate the lighting. The lighting is really well done. A lot of indie games that we see just go over the top of the light. In this one, the lighting, as particularly edges of the lighting, don't seem to like, they look natural. It looks very natural.
Yeah, you've got with these like some with the torch, and the torch isn't, it just doesn't function like a torch normally would. So you don't get enough lighting. But yeah, this is like works perfectly well. And hello, the Radio Tom. Thanks for joining us. I'm not sure about any tight and juicy cases. And Buffoon Batman, sometimes we do read out the negative reviews if it looks like we need more information about the game, or if the reviews look like they're mixed. So it's like we'll like read out what could possibly be like an issue with the game.
This game is by Joey Drew Studios out of Ottawa, Canada. They also developed Bendy and the Ink Machine back in 2017, so it's been 3 years since their last release.
This is 79p.
Oh, wow. 79p. 99 cents US. Oh,
Wow.
so I guess their other game's much more expensive.
Mm.
Yeah, so that makes me think that this is probably a fairly short experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing random times though, like over 4 hours or under an hour, or so. Yeah, I was seeing some about 10 hours or something. So yeah, I've seen various times on this. Yeah.
Now, did this come out before or after Cuphead? I wonder. I wonder if this is like what came first. When Cuphead came out in 2017, so they came out about the same time. So I guess like there was just that desire between these two different studios to like do a sort of throwback hose animation. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks interesting. It's not really my cup of tea, but I'm sure there are some people out there who would like something very cheap and fun to play.
If I am forced into a Halloween stream, I might pick this one just because I'm like it's gonna be over in just a couple hours. But yeah, for 99 cents, that's, I mean, if you're looking for something to play for an afternoon and feel a little unnerved, yeah, Boris and Duck Survival looks right up the alley, and it's overwhelmingly positive at 97%.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, our next title is Philophobia, the fear of love.
Love is patient.
Love is patient. In this precision platformer based on the 5 stages of grief, navigate the bowels of hell and escape the torment of love. So, I know a little bit more about this. So the developer of this game actually was creating this game after a IRL breakup. So I guess he just got the creative energy and just used that to sort of make it the pastiche that he drew on this.
Before you wake.
So,
Love's a gift.
which is pretty interesting.
And as you give, love will take.
I mean, that's one way to work through a breakup, I guess.
Guess so.
Love is life. Going down.
No kidding, man.
Love is rot.
I like how all of your hazards are like hearts. This is very interesting.
Is hell.
It's so edgy. It's like takes it to like a comical level, and I quite like that. So yeah, the developer is Tim Ruswick out of Sarasota, Florida. And
Oh, I know who Tim Ruswick is. He ran an indie game developer community. Well, I think he still does.
still does.
I was part of that for a while and just kind of fell out because I wasn't super interested in what they were doing. But I didn't know this was his game. Interesting.
Oh, okay, neat. So we've got some IRL connection. Nice. Overall, I think it's kind of neat where he does the some of the aspects are actually 3D. So they have like sort of a 3D. It's a 2D game, but there's aspects that are 3D, which I suppose having that actually is a really good way to make the game appear more striking, because if those were just like little block platforms, I feel like wouldn't be as visually as interesting.
Yeah, it looks very interesting. I like the way sort of the backgrounds move as you move, sort of thing, giving it a different perspective. But and the colors are very, very interesting, and everything's so sharp and menacing. It is really set a really good tone for what he was going for. But it's obviously it's a platformer. It's not my cup of tea. Seeing people saying that you have to be very, very precise with the jumps, and that can be a little bit off-putting for some.
The levels don't look particularly big, which is a good thing for a game like this, where it does seem that precise platforming is necessary. But yeah, it's probably not my cup of tea either, as I like platformers, but I'm not really a hardcore platformer. And I prefer more of a sort of a storyline platformer that's set in more of a cheerful world, where it's kind of like very like narrowed down concept. Probably not my cup of tea, but it is. I always like it when a game can make itself look like, I can't go like, oh, this is probably a different game. Or like this looks like this other game, and I can't really say that with this game. So
yeah,
I find that impressive.
it seems like there's quite a few levels as well. So there's like was it 5 stages of grief. There's 100 plus levels of torture. So and 6 realms of misery. So yeah, it's quite substantial, and it's £9.29,
$11.99 US.
and it's 91% positive with 34 reviews.
Okay, that's a pretty good job.
Mm.
Alrighty, I look forward to seeing what Tim Russwork does next. Yeah. Alrighty, our next title, going from meta into metaphobia, we have Metaphobia.
Metaphobia is an investigative mystery game in the style of classic 1990s point-and-click adventures. Take control of Richard Elmstadt in his journey to solve his father's murder.
This is on your wish list, isn't it?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Actually. Not yet. But quite possibly very soon.
I saw that as soon as just like, you know what? Roadie might like this. Although after the bot No Bodies, I maybe you've had enough of mystery stuff so far.
Ooh, maybe. No, never enough. There's always like a hunger for getting the right, finding the right point and click game, the one that's doesn't it's got a good enough pace but doesn't have so obtuse puzzles in. I think you got to find a balance. You don't want them to hold your hand, but you don't want them to be like, oh, for goodness sake, make you feel stupid either. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, but yeah, this one's picked up a lot of traction. It seems there's over 100 reviews of it, and it's free.
I think it has definitely captured the essence of the look of 1990s pixel art. Like, the aesthetic is just so on point. It's so on point. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the developers is a developer who worked on some of these older games. Because it's caught the aesthetic greatly. The one thing is I feel like there's more frames per second in the animations. And like some of the interactions is clearly just faster, but that's just a hazard of existing on a newer machine. So it's they have more capability to do stuff like that.
The thing is, with a lot of these kind of point and click games, they'll use the same engine. And that engine sort of has a lot of restrictions on it, really. I think what was his name? The guy who did Unavowed and the Blackwell series. He does it. There's probably the same engine as this, and it's like, yeah, you can see, especially with action scenes, if there's any sort of action going on, like you can't really do much with the characters who you can interact with, sort of thing. So they can't really, they're sort of like stand there. It's, yeah, but it does look really good. I really like the movements that are going on, the animation. It looks so smooth. It's the fact that this is free, although I don't know how long it is, about 4 hours. It looks really well done.
I think they have the soundtrack up there kind of as a way, like, hey, if you want to support us, here's a soundtrack. So I do appreciate that. I think they could have put a price on it if they wanted to. Like, they really could have. this doesn't look like an amateur title that like, hey, I'm getting my start, just try out my game, give me some reviews. I need a portfolio sort of thing. Like, this doesn't look like I need a portfolio type of game.
Yeah, because it's, you know, it's 30 locations, 20 characters, fully voice acted story as well, which is like, you know, for a free game you don't really get. Of course, it depends on how good the voice acting is. Yeah, it's something I'll probably pick up later on, or I could definitely recommend this to people in the point-and-click streaming community. So shortly after being elected mayor, Carl Amstratt is murdered by a thief who is quickly caught, convicted, and sent to prison. Case closed. Carl's son, Richard, however, is unsettled by the details and decides to investigate further on his own. His prime suspect, his father's political rival, Edward Raban. Throughout the investigation, Richard will find out that the truth behind the murder is hidden deep under the ground, deeper than he could ever have imagined. So yeah, this is on my wish list. I'm going to recommend this to a few more people, and hopefully whoever plays it first, I'll go and watch it.
I think it's going on my wish list. Like, I can't argue with free.
No.
I've got to check this out. This is by Digital Mosaic Games. So I do believe like the core team is two people. One of them is David Broshek. He's from Czechia. So he says that he's the co-creator. I couldn't find the other creator, but I don't think they have a Twitter account. So
right.
He just says like co-creator of the adventure game Metaphobia. And then I'm like, okay, and then I'm looking through our information. Who's the co-creator? I can't find the co-creator. So I don't know, maybe they're just like, nah, I don't want to have an online presence. But yeah. And this is their first game. So I'm impressed. Our next title is Who is Awesome by AZAMATIKA.
This is a single-player minigame collection in which the most awesome character that you choose competes with the characters that you didn't. So it looks like there are 4 characters from different games. Reaper from Peace, Death, Vladimir from Draw Chili, Knight from Oh My God, Look at This Knight, and the Cowboy from Gun Done. You sit at the table and try to think faster than their opponents. It only has 2 rules. Rule number 1, if you lose, the others win. Rule number 2, if you win, the others lose. So it looks like it's a collection of micro games that just kind of is set up in sort of like almost like a party game style of just like rapid, like almost WarioWare style, where you're just going through a bunch of these mini games and whoever gets the most points kind of wins.
Yeah. AZAMATIKA is no stranger to this podcast, this developer. We've seen their work before. AZAMATIKA is a Russian dev. They also made Draw Chili. Yeah, Oh My God, Look at This Night, and Peace, Death, and Gun Done Color Parade. But yeah, they've been developing since 2016, and they've been coming out with a game basically every year. Although Draw Chili came out on November 12th in 2019, so it's been...
Hasn't been that long.
It's been 4 months, and they got this game out. Although I do know they've been working on this game for a longer period of time, so it seems like they have like 2 projects going at the same time sometime. Yeah, this is a voracious solo dev, AZAMATIKA, who's very active. I've been listening to Russian podcasts lately, and they're pretty active in the chat of other podcasts, but they're Russian podcasts. So it's just like, AZAMATIKA, oh wait, I know who that person is, and yeah, it's their YouTube channel. Oh, look at that. So yeah, AZAMATIKA.
I like that they've built a whole universe, and there's like, their signature characters in their other games, and it's like, oh, let's bring them all together for an...
Yeah, and in every game, he makes references to the other games, and sometimes even has some of the characters from other games, either as bit parts or maybe as main characters. So it's neat. He seems to have built his own expanded universe, and that is very, interesting.
Yeah. It's 79p, so another cheapo game. It's nice. Yeah, I agree with you there, Tom. It feels like a better couch game, but it's single player, so that's a bit strange to me. I thought it would be like a fun party game or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, single player. I don't think he's made any multiplayer games so far. I know that networking design is like a whole nother discipline to learn
it's a
game
nightmare.
development. I know someone that is the only thing he does. He does not know how to design games. He just does network design. And he works for a game studio, and that's just like, yeah, that's my discipline. That is all I do.
Yeah, it's a specialty for a reason.
Yeah, and because like most game devs, like they have all this ton of stuff they have to learn, and it's just like learning all that amount of information all over again. Networking, insane. But yeah, so AZAMATIKA, really cool to have a game from him back on the show. And our next title. And it's this is 99 cents, by the way. Yeah.
Oh,
Who is
and
awesome.
it's also 30 reviews and 93% positive.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Our next title is Labyrinth of the Witch. A simple dungeon exploration RPG that anyone can play. Strategically use a multitude of items and tackle changing dungeons. This looks cute, but it has only a 50% review score. Only 10 reviews, so buyer beware.
It's a shame because it looks so cute.
It does.
I wonder if
really
part of the issue is... Yeah, I wonder if part of the issue is the price tag. Just for $15, it seems like maybe people don't feel like that's worth it, even if it looks really good.
Yeah. This it doesn't look like it's an RPG Maker game at the very least. It looks like it's it might be using an engine, but it definitely has a unique aesthetic, so that is good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's too short.
It's someone who's put quite detailed. I think you're looking at the same thing, Chris. It's like repetitive music. So what little music is here is decent, but it gets repetitive really fast, and they end up muting it. No option to customize controls. Once you unlock a new character, there's no reason to ever play as a starter character. Expensive for what it is. Not a roguelike. I
mean, I don't see the tag roguelite
no.
on it.
That's what I thought. I thought it was an RPG. I suppose because it says to tackle ever-changing dungeons.
Yeah,
I suppose.
True. That does kind of imply that it might be, but not all games that have changing or dynamically generated dungeons are roguelikes. So
yeah.
Okay. I could see definitely an issue if there's not a sense of progression, like particularly for an RPG. If you have the starter character and you get unlike a new character, you should still be able to feel like you could advance the starter character. Like each of them should have like a way, a path of progression, and I could see how that might feel unsatisfying, especially if you get attached to the character you start with. I don't know. It looks really cute. I'm just uncertain. Why it's got
completely.
Low review.
Yeah. I think I'm with Tom. I think I'd probably have fun with this game, but if I got it in a bundle, I'd probably be pretty happy. I'd be like, yeah, I'll give this a shot. But for $15, I probably wouldn't go out of my way to buy it. And I'm usually not super picky about price tags on games. Like, I'm happy to spend $60 on something that's mediocre, but it's just like, I need a little bit more of a push for this, for something like this.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's in a subgenre I would be particularly interested in, because I like handcrafted RPGs, so I know that there's a beginning, middle, and end. With this being ever-changing, does it still have that aspect to it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's £13.49, so you're right. I think part of a bundle, it would have been better, and yeah. But it's as for a roguelike for anyone and everyone. So they have put it down here that it's.
Checking
yeah.
their social media for Orange Cube, it does look like they're developing another game too, called Neko's Music Bar. So they're developing like a music bar run by a blue cat. So
I want to see that.
it looks really cute. So there is that. Let me see. I wonder if I can bring that over. Yeah, it looks like that. See?
Oh wow, it's so cute.
It is really cute. So it's cool that they're still developing and working on games. I guess this would be their second game. But yeah, so Orange Cube, from Japan. Our next title is now we're at the real release list. We're done with all the catch-up. We're on to like the full release lists, and starting we have another Japanese game, but significantly less normal. We have KUUKIYOMI. Consider it.
All right, this the world. This is Japan. That is what it's put in the blurb. That is all it's put in the blurb about this game. So, the world. This is Japan. See how considerate you can be without worrying about what others think. The smash hit game, KUUKIYOMI, Consider It, is coming to Steam with some new problems to consider and a 2-player mode. Take it with you wherever you go. So what is Consider It? Simply move the red object on the screen to play each problem. Most of the time you will be controlling yourself, but sometimes you might control other things too. Play through 100 problems and get evaluated on how considerate you were. Share a controller with a friend and you can play the Consider It Together mode. We hope this will help you build a considerate and a harmonious relationship with whoever you play with. Alone or with a friend, enjoy Consider It to your heart's content.
Is this some like Japanese government like social control scheme?
Oh, I think this is the opposite. I think this is a social commentary from someone who lives in Japan, because that's the culture largely in Japan. Is you as the individual, you are not important. What is important is society. So if you are getting in other people's way, then you are failing as a member of society. So I feel like this is it's gamifying that in a way that kind of points out how ridiculous of an extreme that can be. Because there's a great anti-culture movement in Japan right now is pushing the boundaries on a lot of stuff like this. So I wonder if this is what this is trying to get across.
Yeah, I can see that actually, probably even more likely. So it's got this sort of funny idea. I am sort of curious. The controls, from what I've heard, are pretty simple. This used to be on mobile, which mobile gaming is much more important in Japan. So it's like mobile gaming, console gaming, PC gaming is kind of the hierarchy in Japan when it comes to video games. And so this was originally on mobile. So I imagine the controls are pretty simple, and it's just kind of like, what are you supposed to do in this situation to make it as least awkward as possible? That seems to be the thing, but it's like also kind of parodying that. That's interesting.
Radio Tom says, I know a lot of people who need to play this. I think especially now, I feel.
Maybe so.
It's $3.99.
Yep, $4.99 US.
It's an interesting look. I kind of like the idea. I'm not sure how long it is. I'm seeing under an hour. Maybe. It looks interesting.
Probably just it's probably good for some sensible chuckles, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our next title from Monday, March 30th is Chapeau.
Say, party hats go head to head, bounce, float, and zoom through the air in this frantic party game and bring back memories from good old days of couch co-op or beat the bots in solo challenge mode. So it seems like it's sort of a physics-y platformer party game.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. Let me see, does it has local multiplayer? I don't see online, unfortunately. But yeah.
Oh, you literally go head to head. So the point is that you're a hat bouncing from people's heads. I guess the goal is to just not hit the ground?
I think so.
Might be. So it looks aesthetically great when it's in town, but they do have a level where it's over lava. Oh,
I didn't mean to talk over you guys. My Discord froze up again.
No problem. There's like spots where like there's the lava, and I don't like the lava graphic because I feel like I've seen that exact graphic somewhere else. But yeah, they seem to also have like the floor is lava kind of gameplay as well.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like super fun. But yeah, I'm wondering when you go against other party members, what's the sort of goal between the two of you? Is it you're seeing who stays up longer, or are you tagging various people basically, and whoever tags the most people by the end of the counter or something? I'm curious. There's probably different game modes. So see, play with up to 4 players in split screen or against bots, or play online against your friends via Steam Remote Play. Use items like jetpacks, dogs, or even comets to sabotage your opponents and stay a step ahead in the ever-changing dynamic playfields. Compete in the modes the floor is lava, color craze, and where is Willem. Test your skills in challenge mode to unlock a host of new hats and maps, and unlock and collect all the funny hats and skins.
I do believe that at least the color craze one, I think that's like kind of an idea, sort of like Splatoon, where you're jumping to people, you change the color of their clothing, then you have to jump to another person, and it's basically like who can claim the most number of people. And so there's an aspect of like hunting for the people who haven't been colored yet, and then also coloring over other people's people. So
right, yeah.
That seems to be an aspect of that. But yeah, it's cool they have multiple game modes. I like the cityscape areas, and I don't like the lava graphic. It just looks very not as good as the rest of it.
Yeah,
it annoys me. Because I know I've seen a lava graphic almost exactly like that in a lot of the sort of churn games I've seen. Because I'm pretty sure you can get an asset that looks just like that on the store for Unity. So it's not a difficult graphic. So it just bothers me seeing it. But everything else, it looks really fun and bright, and it's good couch co-op game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Tom there. He's saying it's not just Steam's together mode. You wish it was like a dedicated online server. That's a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah.
It's 15% off right now, so it's £9.34, and I don't see enough reviews really to give it sort of a see how many hours that is of play.
Well, with multiplayer, it's kind of like however many hours you can end up making fun out of it. So yeah, $12.74 US isn't an offensive price. That's of course 15% off. From $14.99. Not an offensive price for a multiplayer game, especially with it being couch co-op. You don't have to buy 4 copies, so you just buy 1 copy. At the same time, I'm like, there's really no reason why you couldn't play this game online. But again, I get it. Networking programming, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
But I think how the potential of how many more games you could sell with having an online mode, I think it oftentimes would make up for that. With Chapeau being by Salt Castle Studio, I think this is their first game. It is. Maybe the profit margin wouldn't be there because I know it costs money to hire a network programmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, what it could be is that they just didn't have the development time. Like they might have run out of money before they got multiplayer even network ready. So like, well, we have to have something to release, so we're just gonna have to do couch co-op.
Yep. That happens, but it's out, and it looks nice. Chapeau. Tuesday, March 31st, we have Fates of Ort.
Fates of Ort is a retro fantasy RPG focused on strategic action in a land where time is frozen when you stand still. Cast powerful spells, but beware, they will cost you your life.
Alrighty. This one... this is another example of, like, from a distance, I wasn't impressed, but then the more I looked at it, I was like, you know what, this is some really good pixel art. So, yeah, I think they did I think they make the grid gameplay look kind of fresh. Look really nice.
I can't say I'm in agreement. No, I don't like. I don't know. There's something about it that I'm not. I just don't like quite like the look of it, really. But yeah,
it's weird. I feel like looking through a lot of the screenshots, literally every environment but the main like grasslands environment looks so much better. But the trailer mostly shows the grasslands. But it's like, you know, there's like a castle, there's some like tomb, there's like a, I don't know, volcano or something. I'm like, all these look so much better. I'm like, maybe they did the grasslands first and then didn't go back and touch it up once they kind of figured out their style. But yeah, I'm sort of in between where I'm like, some of this I'm like, this is really good. And I'm with Rody where I'm like, some of the rest of this is like, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely.
It does a really good job of evoking those older games though, and I do like that. Sometimes looking back's sake isn't worth it, but I think they did a decent job where I'm not like, I guess I wouldn't give it any like Looker awards for like prettiest pixel art game, but I like the sprites, the character sprites. They're really cute and small. Not too small though. You can still kind of tell there are different aspects of their armor and their weapons and such. And just a very interesting aesthetic. I like it.
I will say the look of it makes me feel like I want to explore the world. Like it looks like there's a lot of stuff to discover, and I think that's the reason why I would buy this game. Just like the world feels so inviting and open, and that every nook and cranny could have something. And I think that's where it taps well into the like more traditional, like old school fantasy RPG PC game with that isometric view.
Yeah, they says it's inspired. One of the games that inspired them was Diablo 2 and things like that. Yeah, it's reminiscent of that. It says learn and use 12 magic skills and combine them with the 3 elements for different effects. Time stops when you stand still. Take advantage of this to plan your attacks. Use your life energy to weave spells. Be strategic in your fighting. Explore various biomes around the world of Ort and meet a diverse set of characters. So pursue truly optional quest lines and make difficult choices between which characters to save. Save the world or rule it as a force of evil. Interesting.
That is that's a lot of different choices. So I'm really hoping that they end up playing those out. It does have a 93% positive score so far.
And 29 people have reviewed it, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, it looks really interesting, in particular for the folks who did enjoy the really old school old school RPGs that this one's basing itself on. This is developed by 8-Bit Skull, which is I think it's a 2-dev team, and they are based out of Scotland and Latvia. Yeah, some distance working. So they already mastered the working from home trick that we're all having to learn nowadays.
It's 10% off right now. It's £10.25.
Yep, $13.49. Not an offensive price, and but even though I do really like the look of it, I just kind of get the feeling it's probably not my kind of game. Probably not. I feel it seems like it's probably a pretty hardcore RPG, and I'm not. I do play RPGs hardcore, but they have to be RPGs that I already like. So like I play Titan Quest or Torchlight normal, and then I play it really hardcore with permadeath, and because I play through it on the normal mode and then I play it on the hard permadeath, and that's where I spend most of my time. But I have to already like it from the normal mode. So that's kind of how I work with games, and this one seems pretty hardcore off the bat. But if someone that I know ends up recommending to me, I might pick it up. All right. Chris, let us know about our next title, which is Operencia, The Stolen Sun.
Operencia, The Stolen Sun embraces everything you love about classic first-person dungeon crawlers, enhancing the old-school turn-based RPG experience with modern sensibilities. Guide a team of memorable characters through a world inspired by Central European mythology. Boy, should not struggle on that last word.
So long as you don't mind a world that's missing its
I believe this also released on PlayStation as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this also released on PlayStation. So this is by Zen Studios out of Budapest, Hungary.
It looks quite nice. There's graphically, it looks. There's some scenes in there that just look really nice, really impressive.
I'm not a fan of the user interface. I think there's areas where the user interface could be improved. Because I think the user interface is too. It draws away too much from the look of the game. Let's see, which one is this? Bingo. But I think it might be optional having the health bar being displayed over the enemy. I hope so. Because, like, seeing it there is just like, oh, this looks so cool, and then this really ugly health bar right there.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the health bars on the sides. Everything else, it looks serviceable. But I just don't like having UI in here. Maybe that's a personal choice. If they let you edit the UI, I would not be complaining. So, yeah. Because, I mean, for a game like this, it would probably be better to have the enemy health bar, like, up north towards the top. So I can enjoy the middle view. I think. That's how I always set up my my MMOs. So, and this kind of has, like, almost looks like it's set in an MMO world.
I think, because I don't know how well known this is. You know, it's come out on PlayStation. So the price is 10% off right now, and it's $21.41, and that seems like maybe something that's not well known, or I don't know. Maybe this is a well-loved series or something, but it seems like it's quite a lot.
Zen Studios has developed other games. They actually have a lot of employees. They're kind of a larger studio.
Right.
Still indie, but they're a larger studio in Hungary. But I have to say, I think this is their first RPG, because like they made Kickbeat, Castle Storm, Pinball, Mini Golf, another pinball game. So this seems to be a bit of a deviation from their past games. I do believe they were contracted for most of their previous games. So they were like a contracted studio by another company. And now I think this is kind of their big thing of like, hey, this is our original game. We're not making it for another company.
That's pretty cool.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
So yeah, they do also publish a bunch of other games. So they have the Zen Indies sort of is a brand they do for their publishing of other smaller studios as well. Interesting. Operencia. It looks nice. It looks intriguing. I think I have a cousin who would really want to play this. He played games like Grimrock. I think this would be right up his alley, honestly.
That was kind of my opinion on this too. I love Grim. What is it?
Grimrock. Yeah.
Grimrock. Yeah. I played the first one at least, and that was a lot of fun. And that's actually my issue with the trailer for this game is I have a really hard time seeing what's the gameplay in between combat. Like the combat looks fine, like that looks good. And I'm like, what else happens? This can't just be all just floating like landscape cameras, right?
Yeah, like they don't show if your character is actually running from one place to another, but until you get to a turn-based combat, or if maybe it's like Grimrock where it's like you're just moving forward. Yeah, not sure. I feel like they probably don't have character models because I haven't seen like in Grimrock. I've not seen character models. I've seen cutscenes, but those are like 2D illustrations. So you probably don't have character models.
Yeah, there are. It's you make your own character at the beginning.
Okay.
It seems that there is a character. When you look at the screenshots. You go along there. It looks like there you can make your own character and stuff. So
let me see. Let's get. Oh, there we go. Yeah, but yeah. See, this isn't a 3D character though. This is like a 2D character. What characters like? Yeah. Oh, interesting. It does feel like it's very much a Grimrock-like game. Yeah. It's $26.99. So it's a pretty penny. But for folks who already like Grimrock and Grimrock 2, which I hear is better than Grimrock 1, this might be a game to check out. So Operencia: The Stolen Sun. It does currently have 91% positive reviews. Roadie, please tell us about The Complex.
Oh, I thought you were reading this one.
Oh wait, yeah, I'm reading this one. Yep, The Complex. All right. After a major bioweapon attack on London, two scientists find themselves in a locked-down laboratory with time and air running out. The Complex is an interactive sci-fi thriller movie where your decisions lead to one of 8 suspenseful endings.
Why should we continue
Topical.
Yeah, and this is from Wales Interactive, and I love like pretty much nearly all their games that they've brought out. They're really, really good F&V games. They've got a bundle right now with three of their I think it's 3. Is it 3 of their top games? So it's like Late Shift and also
it's 4. They've got 4 games.
Oh, 4, fantastic. So what is it? The Bunker, Late Shift, The Complex, and the Shape-Shifting Detective. I've played the Bunker and I've played Late Shift, and I have the Shape-Shifting Detective on my I have it in my library actually, so yeah, that's one I'm going to play at some point. But this is a bit more like Late Shift, whereas you've got to make a decision within a matter of time. So it will bring you up with a decision, and the time will like sort of go down. But this one you can actually pause, because that's when we were playing Late Shift, the decisions had to be so fast that I couldn't consult the people in the stream, which is what I usually do when I play these games. Because it's a nice thing.
That's why you kind of want to stream these games, is because you can kind of like let it be like a Twitch Let's Play kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. But they've taken into account account this time around, and you can actually pause it. So So yeah, I really want this game.
Yeah, this looks amazing. I've never played any of their games, but even just watching this trailer, I'm like, why haven't I played any of their games before? This looks amazing.
I definitely would I'd kind of recommend the bunker. The acting's really good in it, but it's really you're mainly just controlling one person. He has very little interactions with anyone else. It's about isolation, whereas Late Shift, you have to make there's so many decisions you can make with it, but it's like you're just powering through very quickly. And the shapeshifting detective, that is almost like part of another game which I have played. It's the Madness of Dr. Decker, which is interesting. They're both very interesting games, but they have different mechanics.
Yeah. Wales Interactive is really kind of, I remember FMV games kind of had their start towards the beginning of video games, really. Like it was an early start on that, and then they kind of went away because they just always felt so stilted and hokey. And now just like UI and gameplay has just improved to a point where suddenly like FMVs are really feasible, and it's just neat that the last couple of years just been an FMV, like it's a fully fleshed out genre now. So interactive movies were thought to be like a cool hip thing, and then like, oh, this is unreal. This just can't be done, and now it's can be done. So that's really cool.
Yeah, this just looks so well. It just looks polished, and obviously very very interesting story. And there are multiple outcomes, so there's like 8 outcomes, which is the same with Late Shift as well. There are a lot of different outcomes. So hopefully you don't get the really, really horrible one, which is what I got the first time I played through Late Shift. I was devastated. Devastated, I'd say. But yeah, this is 10% off. It's $8.99, and like if it's like the other games, I think it's definitely worth it, because it's they're so good. They're so entertaining.
I find it interesting. This is like a dramatized version of Biological Emergency, and then meanwhile the real life Biological Emergency. Yeah, just sitting at home. Wearing a mask when I go shopping. But that's kind of hard to make into a movie. All right. You see, I'm completely mixed up who's going next. It is Rhodey's turns now. All right, Roadie, let us know about Over the Alps.
So, Over the Alps, postcards written in invisible ink reveal a secret history. Travel back in time in the debut game from Stave Studios. Over the Alps, stay undercover, evade the police, and race across 1939 Switzerland in this Hitchcockian. Well, I butchered that completely. World War II spy thriller. Hitchcockian.
That should be a banned word. Hitchcockian.
Yes. Hitchcockian.
No.
Jeez. I think I've played this. So at the Adventure X convention like 2 years ago, I think they featured this, and it's but the bit they showed us was like, oh, you got to play was when you're on the train basically, and you're trying to sort of you're kind of evading sort of people prying into your business or something like that, and you're also trying to get prying to someone else's business sort of thing. So yeah, it's a very very nicely done sort of text adventure, sort of interactive fiction. It's very nicely done.
I love the color palette they use. It's just really really bright and pleasant. They didn't go for a noir look. They went for like really bright colors. Still retro. Like this looks like I like how it just looks like sort of 1950s posters, like vacation posters. Like visit the Alps. Like this is what those posters would look like. So I love the choice of color palette and just overall pastiche and style. That is nice. It's very, very nice. I like it. Aesthetic choice. Yeah. Oh, that's what I got.
Yeah, sorry. I like the postcards aspect of it. There's like you're sort of reading people's moods as well, and it's just very mechanically it's really interestingly done. I'm surprised that it's taken like another 2 years from the last time I saw it to come out, because it looked like it was like a fully fleshed out game, but maybe they've changed a lot of things, or maybe they've added a few more things. But this is done by written by the guy who did 80 Days and Heaven's Vault.
Oh,
80
nice.
So yeah. So which I loved 80 Days. So yeah, there's a lot of
And
a lot
Heaven's
of
Vault.
choices.
Wow. So he works with a lot of Inkle. He was working with Inkle Studios.
It's the reconstruction of the past.
Yeah, and Inkle's is a very powerful tool for making text-based narrative games. So if this dev was part of that team, it's no wonder that Alps looks like it probably is super good.
Yeah. I'm seeing. Wonder how long it is. I'm seeing like people with 4 hours, maybe a bit more, 4 or 5 hours on it.
Yeah, this studio is based out of London, England. So yeah, they're one of your neighbors.
But yeah, it's 10% off, and it's £9.26. It's going on my wish list. I might get it in the sale, probably because it's I do think that price point is maybe worth it. Maybe if it was like a couple of quid off, maybe like $7.99. I think yeah.
Yeah, it's $11.69 US with 10% off. Yeah, it really depends on how much of the story there is here. If they've had an extra 2 years development, who knows? Who knows how long that goes?
Yeah.
How many twists and turns, or if they added multiple endings.
That's true. That's true.
Wednesday, April 1st. The absurdly long. I think this breaks a record for the show. The long titled Nick Bounty and the Dame with the Blue Chewed Collar. Let us know about that.
Blue chewed shoe.
Yeah, blue. Wow. With the blue chewed shoe. Let us know about that, Chris.
This is from the writer and designer that brought you Tales of Monkey Island, puzzle agent and strong bad's cool game for attractive people. Comes comedy noir adventure. Play as the smartass detective as he tries to discover who murdered the dame with the blue chewed shoe. So this is a pretty renowned person that made this, or at least team.
Yeah. They've done like this in this series. There's like another 2 games I think that aren't on Steam.
Oh yeah, those games are available for free if you go to their website, so you can play all their past games for free.
Oh, I'm getting some weird vibes from this
Yeah,
place
there's
already.
yeah, they've got some talent on this game, including like the voice actors. They've got Lee Everett from The Walking Dead, Melissa Hutchinson, Clementine from The Walking Dead, Cissy Jones who was the voice in Firewatch, and Adam Harrington, who did Bigby Wolf from The Wolf Among Us.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite a cast. But can I just say, the main detective looks like he's got, at least on these screenshots I'm seeing, he looks like he's got a boy's face that's got some, like, stubble on there. It looks so disturbing.
Right. It does. They also did a weird thing with how the animation moves, where it almost looks like these are claymation, even though they're just 3D. But they do this weird thing when the characters move, where they actually have fewer frames, and it seems intentional. It's just not smooth, but yeah, it gives the illusion that it's like a claymation black and white. It's odd.
I had a hard choice in front of me.
It may because as we were speaking before about point and click developers using the same engine to make point and click games. The guy that was talking about that did an Avowed and did Blackwell series. He did a project with trying out 3D, a 3D engine, and he felt like maybe he wasted like a year and a bit of his life because although he had some success with it, it just didn't look the way he wanted it to look, and so they went back to the old engine. And that might be the case with this. You've got people who work using a particular engine, using a 2D engine, and then they're trying to do like a 3D engine instead. So yeah,
I like that you get to choose your partner. So there seems to be at least 3 possible playthroughs of this game, right, as you choose one of the 3 partners. I like how you just have the old guy, the out of control cop, and the fake sidekick a la Psych. So Sean from Psych. So I find that kind of neat that you can sort of, it may not change the story too much, but probably like how you solve the crime is going to be a little different, and like whatever the dialogue you're dealing with at different events. So that's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. You get to choose one of 3 folks. So maybe give you 3 playthroughs, maybe.
Yeah, I've put this on my wish list. I've been seeing this recommended a few places, so I'll probably give this a playthrough at some point, as with all my other games.
The developers, Pinhead Games, are based out of California. Yep, and it's a $9.99 US.
Yeah, £7.19.
Next, we have Thursday, April 2nd, Sometimes Always Monsters. Join a cross-country bus tour as a newlywed author and combat vicious rumors that you're a plagiarist. Truth isn't important, and when you control the narrative. And this has a mostly negative review score now.
Story time.
Oh, story time. Okay.
So I've played the first one. So this is a sequel. So when I say played the first one, I started it. I played it in a stream, and although that the first one is super popular and everything, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because choices that I would have made. There's one situation where you were trying to help out someone who was addicted to drugs. You take their drugs away from them, but then you put them somewhere else where they can get at them, instead of I don't know, flushing them down the toilet or something, like a sensible person. And I think this person ended up dead because there was no choice for you to actually make any effective action. So to me, it was just completely frustrating. And there was some like background stories as well, which were I just found like, oh really? Oh, so your parents went on like a plane ride and the plane crashed and the parents died, and it was kind of like a really, I found it really trite. Basically, it was just nothing was it didn't seem believable. It didn't seem like anything that was happening was really believable. And for me, it just didn't set the right tone. So I just wasn't for me, but a lot of people really liked it. Now with this one, apparently this was in development hell for ages. And so it's taken a long time for it to come out. And it seems like it's not been developed fully. There's like a lot of story seems to like be missing. There's like there's not a lot of choices again. It's just not a full game. People are complaining about, and it's really buggy. It's really buggy, apparently.
No. That is probably, that would be upsetting to not be able to have a satisfying storyline, because it has a neat aesthetic. So the pixel art is interesting. It's well done. Not quite realistic, but not quite chibi. That sort of combination that just looks nice from an isometric perspective. But that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate that is incomplete. So let me see. Do they have any? They posted new updates today, and yesterday. So adapting to feedback, sorting out continuity.
It was sorting out continuity. That's a terrible.
That's bad.
Yeah, like this late in the day, you that should have been checked, because there's certain things that you can't, if you don't have like a big enough testing team, you can't test for every bug. There's always going to be something someone's going to come across when you release it to a wider audience. But sorting out continuity, I've seen single developers, lone developers do games with multiple choices and everything like that, and they've managed to like have seamless continuity and everything like that. So I think this is a team, and it's quite worrying they've not gotten that.
It's been
right.
6 years since the previous game too, so that's
been
a lot of time. Now, granted, they probably don't live off of the sales from the first game. They probably all have jobs, and they might have, because I don't see they have other games involved. Because Vagabond Dog. Okay, they've made some other games. They've been A2B, science fiction narrative, Dogs Gone Golfing, RPG.
A2B was not great either.
No. So they did have a past success, but yeah, they did. That one sold decently, the first one, but I've not been able to recreate that success, I don't think. Nope. So I don't. That's really sad. That's really sad that happened. But hopefully they can get it up to a point, and then maybe do a sort of discounted sale to like, hey, it's new, we fixed it. Please check it out. It works now. So hopefully they'll be able to salvage this situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you were fans of the first one, or if you like the look of the first one and thinking of giving that a go, give that a go. Give this a follow and see how they're continuously updating it and seeing how it is in like post development. It's 10% off right now, £13.94. The first one was like a really long game as well. So yeah, I don't know how long this one is, but yeah.
Yep. So yeah, but they are based in Toronto, Canada, on, dog.
Mhm.
Ready. Roadie, let us know about our next title, MazM, Jekyll, and Hyde.
Players will experience the world through the eyes of two people, one that challenges to the limit and the other to the true path. A shocking revelation will occur through this psychological thriller. The battle between good and evil starts now.
This is described as a simulation game in the tags. So I've been trying to like read the notes and figure out what makes it a simulation though. I don't know, because it looks. I don't know what aspect of the game is the simulation aspect. Sure.
Well, this is really weird. Really weird. But it's Jekyll and Hyde is a darkly entertaining adventure game based on the classic 1886 novel The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, in which you'll tackle the mystery from a totally new angle. You'll travel back to 19th century London and view the city through the eyes of Mr. Utterson, a lawyer who walks the true path, hunting for clues to solve a disturbing mystery. Mr. Hyde, who has been pushed to his physical limits. Wander the streets of this psychological thriller and prepare for an ending you would never expect. The version of London presented in MazM Jekyll and Hyde has a dark, heavy atmosphere, creating a sense of the eerie and macabre. The stunning artwork and unsettling music help to further intensify the disturbing nature of the game. Travel throughout London searching for clues and allow the world of this classic novel to envelop you as you experience the tale of one man's many challenges and potential downfall. I mean, I like the artwork. And some of it looks bit visual novel like.
Yeah, it reminds me of Salem, as far as aesthetically goes. It looks like the Salem game.
But the background's not so great. Some of it doesn't look so great.
I think it's serviceable, but some of it, like, there is some empty space there. Like, the roads are kind of pointlessly wide and seems to just take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely spots where it could look nicer and still have that same aesthetic. Yeah. There's...
Sorry, Chris, what were you going to say?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys, but I was just going to say a lot of this actually reminds me of a Kickstarter game I backed. How long ago? This was, I don't know, years ago. Oh, in 2016, so 4-ish years ago, called A Place for the Unwilling. And I don't think it's released yet, but it's so weird. It almost looks like it might pull a lot of inspiration from how that game looks like it was intending to play, and just kind of took its own spin with it. It's interesting though. Like, I love Jekyll and Hyde. Like, that's a great book, and so anything that's kind of inspired by that sounds like it could be kind of fun.
Yeah. It looks interesting. It does look interesting. I would like to see someone play this because, same as Chris, I like the story of Jekyll and Hyde. So, I'm not sure about the price point. That might putting a lot of people off. Although it's 20% off right now, it's still £9.11. So that seems quite a lot, I think.
All right. Yeah, and it's $11.99 US. And yes, this is their first game on Steam. Okie doke. Next title. Chris, tell us about Destructivator 2.
A platform shooter that brings 90s gaming smashing into your face from your PC. Take on a vast army of alien soldiers, robots, bosses, and loads more. Fight on foot, in a fighter, or in a bomber. Take on bosses and ensure that the alien menace won't threaten Earth ever again. So it looks very almost shoot 'em up, but with a lot of like platforming components to it.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they took a couple different retro games and kind of put them together, so you have different stages where you're doing different things. That's nice. That is a cool thing to do. Aesthetically, I'm not particularly impressed. Like, it doesn't look bad. It does not look bad. But I'm like, it's not necessarily. We see so many really good pixel art games that are very much going for the retro style, and I feel like I've seen this style done better. But it's not bad. I like the backgrounds, and the foregrounds do feel like they match. Like, it follows the proper rules where I can tell where I can jump. I can, you can see, you can discern stuff. So it follows the basic rules about how to make a game. So I like how to make a game with this aesthetic. But it looks fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah.
I was gonna agree. I feel like we've seen games like this kind of time and time again. It doesn't really feel like it's that unique. My complaint is that they seem to have taken the particle effects of the game way too extreme. There's just too much going on screen at a certain point. And I'm like, please just focus on a little bit. It's too much.
Yeah. There's a lot going on screen. It's
Yeah.
so there are 50 plus levels across 6 worlds. It says die a lot. It says easy mode, normal, and brutal skill levels.
Okay, that's cool. Got different difficulty levels. Pug Fugly Games is a one-man indie dev located in Wales.
It's 10% off right now at £4.31.
That is $5.39. So it's it's not offensively priced. It's at 10% off. It for folks who are really looking for the run and gun type gameplay, as with some like bomber, like flying stuff, and some shmup elements. This could be right up your alley. It's a good variety of games, of gameplay. I'm probably not going to jump on this one, but it doesn't look bad. So I think this is Pug Fugly's name. This is Pug Fugly's first game, and they do have a free demo. So again, also kudos again for the free demo. Good, I'm happy about that. And I think that's probably going to help them in the long run, or so people who are kind of on the edge or can, at least check it out to see whether they want to play it or not. That is also cool. I always like it when folks put out demos. Because I think this game is probably going to win on its gameplay more than its visuals. So yeah. Destructivator 2. And our next title on our last day of from show, our last day of releases, Friday, April 3rd. We have the title Pode. Friendship is everything. Play this award-winning title together with your friends or switch between characters as you traverse a cute puzzle adventure on your own. Glow and Boulder come together to charm young and adult alike.
Friendship.
Yeah, it's quite trite but cute. This is by Henchman Goon, which is a studio in Bergen, Norway, with a 7-dev team.
I do like the visuals. There's this very nice use of sort of glow effects that aren't. I know we talk about certain glow effects that are just really annoying, like those neon effects, but this is like a really, I don't know, like a nice warm way they've used the lighting.
It's just warm. It's just enough. It doesn't extend beyond where it should. It doesn't enter the Michael Bay lens flare realm. It stops well before that, and it looks natural. They hit the lighting nail on the head. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. It looks great. I do like, so they do have that setting where they use a base, so the terrain is like this kind of geometric, not really hard to do 3D art, like, see the platforms and such they're on. But then they take it a step further with the plants and the decoration props, etc., that make it not look like all the other games. Like, I see many games with that sort of platform, but they didn't add all this other stuff on top of it. And because they added all the other decorations to the world, it feels much more professional. Because I've seen games, puzzle platforming games with a very similar artistic style of the baseline, but this one took it to another level. And I'm very happy about that. It looks beautiful.
I'm surprised this hasn't gotten more traction. Because it just is so pretty.
It is really pretty. And you're just a little cute ball and a little cute square. And that's adorable. It really should have gotten more attention, because I think it's deserving. It is also available on the Switch, though. So they do have a Switch version. It's coming in the spring, not there yet.
Okay. It's 10% off right now, at £13.49. I was wondering how long it is. Because I'm only seeing like 3.5 hours from both reviews there. Oh, and someone's got five hours. So yeah, it's still not sure how long it is.
$17.99 US, so it may not be a very long game. These are the devs who also made the beautiful game Phlegm, where you are a little green slime ball.
Wow, and that's a very different style game too.
Oh yeah. Very retro platformer, but you know what? It's also kind of cute. So, but I am far less impressed with the look of this game than the look of their latest game. Their latest game, I see a progression here, so I'm much more impressed with this one. Glad to see that. And alrighty, our next title is Trusty Brothers.
Trust Me Brother is a local 2-player co-op game. Grab your friend, start the adventure, find the great sun treasures around the world. If you fail, it must be that you don't trust each other enough. So that's one game we had about friendship, and this one, it's like whether you can trust the other person.
Yeah. So it's going to demonstrate this on the screen right now. So you can there is friendly fire, or you can like accidentally attack your friend. And so he just pushed him right into the water, and then he just threw him across so he could reach the star. This looks like it's a really fun couch co-op game, actually. It does not, you can't, no online multiplayer setup. So
I just imagine if I was playing this from my other hover with my brother, I would just mess up, like when I was like swinging my sword, and then I'd accidentally kill him.
That seems to be one of the challenges here. Is that aspect of the game. Aesthetically, it looks really nice. I like the cube look. It's just got a nice look to it. This is by FunStone. I believe they're a Chinese developer. I could not find much online, but I also wasn't searching in Mandarin, so. But yeah, aesthetically, it's cute. It looks like a cute couch co-op game.
The gameplay of this reminds me a lot of the Zelda Four Swords Adventures game, which sounds like a weird comparison, but it's like the combat and the like puzzle design feels totally in line with that same style of gameplay.
Yep, it does. It does look like that. Does it even have? And this doesn't have single player mode. I don't think. I think that you're supposed to play with 2 people on this game.
Yeah, that's what it says. Trusty Brothers is a local 2-player co-op game only and has no single player mode.
Wow, that is daring. That is quite daring. Because how
Yeah.
many of us have friends that can like couch co-op with us?
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. but yeah, let me see. It is $4.49 though, so if you do want to get it and play with someone, it's not that much. I could see this would be a good game to like play with a kid. Be have some parental bonding time. So this would be fun. The fact that like the kid can get up to mischief in the game, that's I feel like that's a plus as well. So, yeah,
I
Twisted
just see
Brothers.
people getting very frustrated with this. It's like, oh, you throw me down the cliff again.
Exactly. Alrighty, but yeah, it looks cute. Okay, Chris, tell us about In Other Waters.
Play as an artificial intelligence guiding a stranded xenobiologist through a beautiful and mysterious alien ocean. A non-violent sci-fi story, enter a world of wonder, fear, and vulnerability, unraveling the history and ecology of an impossible planet. What will you discover together?
I played this.
Oh, you played this?
I've played this, yeah. So this was featured at last year's Adventure X, and it was one of the last ones I played. And it was sort of like while I was waiting for one of the talks to start, because it just didn't grab me really. Although it looks visually interesting, you've got this sort of two-color, this green or blue and yellow sort of aesthetic. It is visually striking. It didn't look like it was for me. It looks like it looks very technical. It looks like it could be too complicated, but then when you actually go to play it, it's actually quite simple mechanics. And basically, you've been given instructions to check out these. It's very good, like starting tutorial sort of thing. It's not a separate tutorial, but it's when you start a game and it guides you into how you're supposed to play it. You're supposed to check out these like funguses or something in the water, and when you get there, you've got to set your navigation and everything, and you get there, and then you find out that it's actually communicating, and then there's something that happens to the onboard computer, and you have to, gets taken over or something, and you have to trust that person who's sort of guiding you on what to do and everything, because they have I think they have control over your oxygen and everything. So I think I'm trying to remember it, but yeah, you navigate from one point to the next, and you've got to sort of set where you're going to go, because then you set the coordinates, everything, and then it goes forward. But it sounds more complicated than it is, but it is very simple mechanics. It's very easy to get your head around, and it's a really, really interesting story. And it's was it voice acted? I can't remember, but yeah, it was interesting. It's very intriguing.
I'm trying to see if there is any voice acting. The developer, Jump Over the Age, also known as Gareth Damian Martin, is a developer based out of London, and from what I can tell, is a solo dev who also works in architecture.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like that's probably being working in a somewhat more technical job. That's almost why this has a. I wonder if they took an inspiration of making sort of a very sort of just charting, like a technical charting type game. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm way into this though. I feel like this is so different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're actually kind of pushing the envelope on like what a exploration game or even a simulation game can be. So this is the kind of stuff I would just eat up, because I love seeing something so seemingly innovative.
The story is just so fantastic from what I played, and it's so intriguing, and yet you got and like you said, you got that element of exploration as well. So and it looks so different from what's out there right now.
Mm-hmm. I like the non-violent component of it too. I mean that it's not as though there aren't other non-violent games, but like them making that a pillar of this game is like, this feels like it'll be a nice, more pleasant kind of experience rather than a like, I'm gonna go play a survival game and go kill a bunch of, I don't know, things on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is an expanding genre. And sometimes there's games where they don't even, where it's a given, like this farming sim. Where it's like almost annoying when they say, yeah, there's a non-violent farming sim. I know, it's a farming sim.
I would hope so.
I wasn't expecting there to be a zombie invasion. But yeah, when it comes to games like this where it's like, I don't know, is it? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
I do appreciate when they do kind of give that premise, like, this is what you're diving into. Because some of these games that are so weird, it's like, hey, please explain. What am I going to be expecting? So please explain. So yeah, I do appreciate that. It is $13.49 US.
10% off right now, and it's £10.25. And it's standing at a positive rating with 42 reviews and 92% positive.
Very good. Alrighty, our next title is Hyper Parasite. Roguelite twin stick shooter brawler that never plays the same twice. Select and control 60 different characters as the body-snatching alien parasite with a grudge against humanity. Fight to the top of the food chain, possess the president, push the big red button, and one-up the human race.
It's a great premise.
It is, actually. So I like how you kind of get to start out and select what character you start out possessing, and then after you get killed, you kind of like have to wander around and find a new host. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool premise. It looks interesting, but it looks like maybe the art's not so consistent.
Yeah, that is one thing. I almost skipped over this game at first. Well, I did skip over this. You had to bring this up to me. Because from a distance and looking, I was like, oh, this looks kind of unappealing. It looks better on looking at it again. But yeah, I can see that there's some odd... Like here, this is a really striking scene right here, what's on the screen right now. That's a really striking look to it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but this is the 2D cinematic. Never mind. So, but there's points in the game where it does have a very striking aesthetic, and then other times where it's like, ugh, I don't know. I don't like this. Yep. You were saying.
But yeah, I think it's one of those ones like we said earlier. Maybe it's more like mechanically fun than rather than how it looks. It's although this has just come out of early access, so it'd be interesting to see post early access how people have reviewed this. I'm seeing that there are 80 reviews down here, although it says there are like 57 reviews, and it's done, and 96% of them are positive. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this, if other people pick this up and put their reviews in. There is permadeath as well. I think are there different like game modes, or is it just it's permadeath completely?
With it being an action roguelike, it's gonna be permadeath because there's probably there should be a progression system that you die and then you start the next level slightly more powerful, or with some currency that you build up to get more powerful over runs. With a roguelike, that means it could be anywhere from 10 hours to 200 hours. I mean, the only reason I played Rogue Legacy for so long is because I suck at it. Like, I should have beaten that game, but I'm like hundreds of hours in, and I'm still playing it. Can't beat the second boss. Anyhow, that's my own personal trauma.
Well, it's 33% off right now. It's £9.37.
Yep, $12.05, which again is an offensive price, particularly for a roguelike if it's good. It does have a 96% positive rating. Aesthetically, I'm just not a fan of the look. Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan. I think it tries to mix 2D and 3D just a bit too much. Because so the game is actually 3D, but it has like a sort of aesthetic that makes it look almost 2D. I feel like they need to lean more into that. Because when I see, well, what's another game that did that? Dead Cells. Dead Cells did that. That game is animated in 3D, and then they sort of did a pixel art. They applied pixel art over the 3D bones, and it looks so nice. And I feel like, and that's a lot of work. I get that, but I feel like that would have worked really well here.
Yeah.
So having done that, because already the icons use pixel art, and that pixel art looks great. And some of the environment has this sort of feel to it where it almost looks like it's 2D drawn. Yeah, it's just I'm conflicted about the aesthetics. Troglodytes is a studio that is located in Spain. And I think this is their first game. They do have a free demo though, so perhaps I can out my final judgment. Roadie, finish us off with Sky Cat.
Cats versus Mouse. It's kawaii shoot 'em up. Cats vs. Mouse is a kawaii shoot 'em up. Mice were everywhere in Japan in 2020 because it was a mouse year. However, some have pursued mice since mythological times to stop it. He couldn't become the Zodiac because he was fooled by the mouse. The cat has just flew away with a teriyaki in hand to defeat the mouse. Oh my god.
So we know the studio Meowsoft. They also developed a game called Noyo.
Noyo, yeah. Noyo.
Which was this girl and a cat going around town helping people with their problems. That was kind of an equally absurd premise. And so I am seeing a trend with Meowsoft in their Skycat game.
It is so cute. It is super kawaii.
Yep.
There's a mouse is everywhere.
I need to put both of I'm gonna get the first game on my list. I don't know why it's not on my wish list. So I've gotta check out their portfolio, because seeing them put out another game or just remind me, it's like, oh, I didn't play their first game.
Their first game is on my wish list, but yeah, I should pick that up and play it at some point, definitely. It's so cheap.
It's just so Japanese. Like they're shooting taiyaki, and they're like throwing satsuma oranges. My word. It's very Japanese. Delightful. But yeah, the studio Meowsoft is actually located in Japan, but I haven't been able to find too much more information. Even when I used Google Translate on the website, it didn't translate anything. So, so I was like, oh, this is not helpful at all. So, but yeah, they are a Japanese studio.
Nice.
Yeah, the Skycat. It's cute. And it's $2.69. They do release very cheap games. That's another thing you do. It's always a low price of entry. So it's
yeah,
cute, man.
It's 10% off, £1.88.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. It's cute. There's 5 stages. Plus mission 48 stage times 5 level. What? Volume full? What are they saying? This English is absurd. I mean,
Cute
Yeah.
full cat customization.
beautiful cat custom. It's like to a degree where I'm like, is this intentional? Like, do they know what they're doing? I'm like, is this an intentional? Like, is this a stylistic choice? The level of English here, but I do cute anyhow. That's a nice way to end off our release list, though. That was our last game of the week. Yeah, Skycat. And so now the really important question, is what the best game of this week's releases are. And I'm sure you've been thinking about it the whole show. Roadie, what was the game that stood out the most to you?
See, I normally go. So, actually, yeah, no, I will pick one from the catch-up list.
Mhm.
I think it was it Metaphobia? Was it that one? Yes, Metaphobia. Because it looks very well done, point and click, and it's free.
Yeah.
That's always good. But so I would like to play through for it to see if it's consistent all the way through, because sometimes they start off really well, but then when you get to the ending's like just very poorly done and not paid much attention to. The other one, I would say, it's been very difficult because there's quite a few this week that have been really good, but the complex has to be the top of the top ones for me for this week.
Right, the complex and Metaphobia. Alrighty. As for my games of the week, I definitely say I think I really just have to agree with you on Metaphobia. I cannot disagree with the value proposition there. It's a free game. It looks fantastic. I think it's worth my time. I need to check this out and see what sort of story awaits me. And you know what? If it's good enough, I might just get the soundtrack just because like I would feel guilty not to. So the goal of this game is to make me feel guilty for getting it for free. That is its goal.
Sorry to bore you. We have has seen someone play through most of the complex, and it says it was a really interesting story.
Oh, that's good to hear as well. Of the games that came out this week, though, I don't. None of them really stood out to me. Besides maybe Pode. Probably Pode. Yeah, Pode stood out to me. This one was just really cute. So yeah. Metaphobia and Pode. What about you, Chris? What are your favorite games this week?
I think the one that stuck out to me the most, weirdly, is In Other Waters. That's the one where I'm like, this is the most unique, the most interesting. I feel like most of the rest of these, I'm like, I could play any other versions of those games in other places, but that's the one that's like, that one's different, and that one, like, I don't know, I would want to bite into first. But was it the complex, the FMV one? Yeah, that's the other one. I haven't dabbled enough in FMV games, so that one would be my runner-up easily, just because it looks well done, well produced. That's great video footage quality, at least it looks like. Good acting, like, it just seems exciting. I don't know, it's just cool.
We stand on the precipice of history.
Yeah.
Our teams have been working with some of the countries.
Yeah, we have some really great games this week, and I like how there's always some overlap lately. The last few weeks has been overlap between everyone.
So young.
Yeah, the complex is just so looks amazing, and I do want to play this on stream. I think it'd be an interesting one to do. You've got that nice pause feature, so they're not rushing me with an answer.
Exactly. Pode, and we have Zaza saying that Pode is his top. Yes, I have to agree with you. I think Pode is definitely my.
The complex is pretty short. Yeah, I think it's just over 2 hours or something like that. That was the same with Late Shift as well. But it was just like so fast paced, and yeah, it was nice watching the story unfold, and I feel like that's going to be the same. It's if you don't pause it, it's going to be very fast paced, very fast moving. So you've got to make those decisions quickly. Mm.
Yep. So you could probably get it done in one, maybe two stream, probably one stream. You could probably
one stream if you because I normally do like 2.5 hours stream. So yeah, there'd be one stream.
Yep. Sucker for co-op games. I am too. When I've got someone to co-op with. Which, speaking of, we have some shameless plugging to do, and I'll just go quickly first, but I'm going to be doing some co-op gameplay with another pretty regular host, the Radio Tom, on Monday. It's going to be Monday evening. I believe he has a schedule up. I'll have to put it on my calendar. But yeah, so Monday. I've got plans tomorrow. We're going to play Armello, so I'm looking forward to playing that and getting defeated in a board game, so which is what normally happens to me. So yeah, but Tom said he's there to teach me, not to wipe the floor with me. So
Tom is pretty good to play board games with, because the last one I played with him, it was very much us figuring out how to play it rather than, him trouncing on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So what about you, Roadie? What do you have to shout out about? What you're up to?
I did do 2 streams this week actually, and I'm hoping to get back into Whispers of the Machine a couple of times this week, because I would really like to progress with the story, and hopefully with our collective knowledge of the people in the room, they help me get past the bit I'm stuck on right now. So I haven't got specific days right now, but yeah, just check out my Discord and or check out my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Roadypie.
Yep. Roadypie. And AffinityChris, what is up with on your channel?
We the Time Cops and I are still hanging out over at the AffinityChris Twitch channel. We're still doing chrono streams, which we do full franchise playthroughs of every single game in chronological order. So we're doing Zelda on Saturdays, and we're doing Hitman on Wednesdays, and we just kind of do variety on Tuesdays. Eventually it'll be D&D, but quarantine has kind of ruined that right now. But yeah, no, we have a lot of fun. We complete the timeline. We save every single game in their universe.
That is really cool. Particularly, I know my cousin really actually likes watching your streams. Because it's kind of we didn't grow up with all the series of consoles, so oftentimes we completely missed out on generations of a franchise, and so it's really cool to kind of live vicariously, because sometimes the game style is just advanced, and it's just like you're not really that enthused about going back to the really old-fashioned version of the game, and it's nice to see someone who is enthusiastic about exploring that, and so you can kind of explore with them.
Oh yeah, I love figuring out the nuances of some of those old games and trying to just see how they expected players to think about them, because there's a total different literacy to games right now.
Oh, you muted. I'm sorry.
Archaic, and I gotta just document everything to solve it.
It was almost comical because you picked up a book and then
it
went mute, and you're just like, it was just like you were just swearing about it. It's just like, oh no. So bad. But yeah, I think we got your gist. But yeah, having to keep track of all that. And of course, a lot of games were made for arcade, so you were supposed to lose and pay up another quarter kind of thing, and that's how they were designed. And that kind of bled into home consoles for a long time, even though it didn't make sense. So it took a while for that to update as well. Just different eras of gaming. Alrighty, and with that, that is our show. That is our show this week. We had a great week. So yeah, we'll be back next Sunday with more awesome games. And also, do remember to check out our Steam curating page, which since I did play like a game I need to write up a review for that game on there since I played it. I'm always waiting to get the videos up. This video should be on YouTube's Tuesday or Wednesday. This last episode got up on Thursday, but that was because my schedule is unpredictable in a time when even though I should have a perfectly open schedule, it's been unpredictable lately.
Oh, here's the link if you want to follow us on the curator page, and don't forget to like and subscribe and click that bell on YouTube, and please do write comments because we do read them out on the stream. So take care. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.